I did not put the computer volume off.
Don't put your legs. Is that the email definition? It's easy.
This is Dolor Factor Live, and tonight, of course, we're going to talk about something that's very, very serious. We begin to grow old, and the moment we breathe life, as soon as we live. So, as adults, we prepare for looking after our families and for the days when we become older. Some of us make preparations throughout our lives, and some of us don't. This means some less fortunate aged persons cannot look after themselves financially and otherwise, or are without caring families, and many suffer abuse at the hands of others. This week on Dolor Factor Live, we ask many questions. How does it feel to grow old? How can we prepare for our pensionable days? What are the thoughts and fears of older persons? Why do some persons suffer mental and physical abuse? And what can the public do to help? So stay with DBS for tonight's Dolor Factor Live.
The views expressed in this program are those of the hosts and guests, and in no way represent those of DBS, and are not intended to determine decision-making processes. Dolor Factor Live is brought to you compliments of Lime, Organica, AF Valmore, EC Global Insurance, Skin Science, Illumines, Rainforest Hideaway, Mango Beach Inn, Cars for Rent, Transit TV, Carpet Media, Prestige Auto Holdings Limited, Farron's Dairy, Infinity Color Shop, Stars Publishing, Touch Therapies, Lame Spa, Trios Caribbean Fusion Restaurant, and Baywalk Shopping Mall.
Hello, welcome to Dolor Factor Live. I'm Delia Dolor. Thank you for choosing DBS and Dolor Factor Live. Tonight we're talking about the abuse of older persons. Listen to this. The number of people older than 65 is expected to double to 14% from 7% of the world's population in the next 30 years. The most rapid rise in the elderly population is taking place in developing countries, where the increase is more than double the rate in developed nations. The 2001 census indicates people over the age of 60 make up 10.7% of St. Lucia's population, and the percentage of them who are being abused is alarming. Stan Bishop of The Voice wrote an interesting article last month where he cited Executive Director of Help Age St. Lucia and the National Council of and for Older Persons, Helen Charles, that abuse of the elderly is rife in St. Lucia. She also pointed out alarming facts that many of us know but ignore, and I quote, "There are many instances where older persons are being taken advantage of by their own relatives. Some relatives often move in with the elderly persons, gain access to their finances and other possessions, and then leave them to fend for themselves," unquote. There are many more stories that we will hear about from our guests, and I suspect our viewers tonight. Remember, we are discussing the abuse of elder persons so we can inform and find solutions, and for that we need your help. But first, housekeeping. Our last U-Factor talk was yesterday at the Micoud Secondary School as part of a very special and successful event arranged by the Micoud Police. Now, together with Corporal Auguste, lawyer Giovanni James, and Commissioner of Police Vernon Francois, we spoke about issues ranging from motivation, child sexual abuse, and being law-abiding citizens. The students and their parents heard, and I have faith they listened to the positive messages given by the guests. We will shortly announce details on U-Factor Phase 2, which sees DFL visiting one community every month. I'd also like to say thank you to Antonius of Endless Summer Tours and Solomon, a guide at the Sulphur Springs, who made me love St. Lucia more earlier this week with their interesting stories, and they were so complimentary of Dolor Factor Live, and I felt so overwhelmed. On behalf of the DFL team and myself, thank you so much. But back to tonight's show. We're talking about abuse of St. Lucia's older population. My guests tonight are Charmaine Hippolyte, manager of Comfort Bay Senior Citizens Home, and Antoinette Joseph, senior field social worker of the Division of Human Services and Family Affairs. Thank you both so much for coming. Now, I know we have a very serious issue to deal with tonight, and I'm sincerely hoping that our viewers will tell us what they have been feeling, what's been happening, and also you can tell our viewers what it's really like, because you work in the field, and of course to try and come up with some kind of solution and some kind of way of opening the eyes of other people to recognize some of these signs and to help our older persons. But before we actually start with that, of course you're laughing because you know what's coming. Of course, I don't know which one to start with first. Should I start with my Farron's ice cream, or should I start with my really wonderful questions? You know what, I'll start with the ice cream. I'll start with the ice cream. Okay, you had some really lovely Farron's ice cream. What were your thoughts, Charmaine? What did you think of your ice cream?
It was quite tasty, and some of it I didn't recognize. Glad I didn't taste it, because I think it had a bit of alcohol in there.
Now, how would you know unless you tasted it?
Well, I was reluctant, but I was told eventually.
Okay, but I think the one
but all in all, it was nice.
Yeah, I saw you going down for the orange pine.
Yeah.
You like that one?
That was my favorite.
Yes. Okay, Antoinette, what about you?
I really enjoyed it tonight.
Yeah, which flavor did you like?
Pistachio.
The pistachio. But you were talking about that before you even got it. You said, oh, I wish you got pistachio. She was just waiting for that one. Did you taste the others, or you just went into your pistachio? Good, good. All right, well, tonight we tasted orange pine, we had pistachio, Guinness, and coconut. And I have to say, most of the women who've come on and they've tasted the orange pine, that's the one they like. But you already had your favorite, so you went straight for that. Good. I think you had your favorite because you were trying to summon up the courage to answer the question that I have for you. And I want to get this right. Here's our question for you, Antoinette. We all have high hopes when we go out on a date, but sometimes they just don't go to plan, now do they? So what is one of the worst dates that you've ever been on?
Actually, in Miami, when I was at school, my Hispanic friend, Antoinette, she's always saying that she's going to hook me up onto somebody, and she said it's one of her classmates, a Haitian guy, and it was just a lunch date, so I went for lunch, but I realized after lunch he wanted to take me to his house, and I said it wasn't possible. I kind of think that was a real bad date.
Oh, but you didn't like him, or just because of the time, the time frame? It was lunch and you wasn't expecting it.
No, not that. I met him at classes, but my friend Yana kept saying to me, before I go back to St. Lucia, she needs to hook me onto somebody. You know, so she made the connection.
Well, I think bottom line is I don't think he impressed you enough. You know, you might have been tempted if you had.
Well, I wasn't too impressed.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, all right, Charmaine, a question for you now. Have you ever cried aloud at a movie, or are you more likely to shout out during the action or laugh during the comical bits? How do you behave when you watch a film?
Well, it depends on the movie or the film, first of all. And I think I've found myself doing both. Like comedians, I would laugh until I would turn blue. And movies like Diary of a Mad Black Woman, you know, you would watch it a million times and it would stir the same emotion, like hit him or stop or she forgave him, you know, that sort of thing.
Yes.
So it depends on whatever.
And do you do that at home or just at the cinema? Or
Only at home.
Only at home. Because I have to say, I mean, I remember the first time I went to a cinema, I think it was at the Gaiety Cinema in the 70s.
Okay.
And you know, St. Lucia in those days, the Gaiety Cinema, they used to do a lot of kung fu movies.
Right.
You didn't have to go in the cinema to know what was happening in the cinema. Should I
have
say
to
more?
hear
The
it.
words that I used to hear, I was never allowed to repeat those words. But
Indeed,
that's
indeed.
part of, you know, what, and most of us, we do that, don't we? When we get into a film, we get into it, and without even acknowledging or knowing, sometimes we do say things, you know, even if the room is full of people. You know, I went to Caribbean Cinemas the other day, and I heard, you know, a woman talking to the screen. I was thinking,
This is not your home.
yeah, it's not your home, but she just got carried away. She had chop scene and everything. I was thinking, oh gosh. But you know, it's all part and parcel of enjoying yourself, you
Yeah,
know, and
yeah.
that's the way to do it in St. Lucia if you go to the cinema. Well, thank you for sharing those with you. I did call your family up before, Antoinette, to let them know that you had a date with someone in Miami, so they'll be questioning you when you get home. But viewers, later in the show, we'll be giving you an opportunity to give us the names of people you know who treats an older person with love and care. You'll also get a chance to win some wonderful prizes, as always, so listen up. These are our giveaways tonight. To win Farron's ice cream, a flavor of your choice, name the family behind Farron's Dairy. To win a gift from AFL Mall, answer this. What are the new products just in at the Vid Patel branch? I actually went there this weekend. They have some things like concrete blocks, cement, all these kind of things for builders and stuff. They have really lots of new products. And the other branches as well, they have some, I'm telling you all because a lot of people know where I get my clothes from, which is AFL Mall. They have lots of new arrivals for children, for ladies, tops, blouses, especially carnival. They've got some really lovely, colourful carnival attire. They've got things to make posters, you know, the cards, the pens, you name it, they actually have it. So I'm telling everyone, because I know we're heading into carnival, if you're looking for something, you can go there. Now, you can find the questions on dolorfactorlive.com and Facebook Dolor Factor Live TV show, and you have until 9:30 tonight to answer. So we'll see you after the break when we'll talk about the abuse of elderly persons in St. Lucia. See you soon.